guys, it's Cindy Lietz, your polymer clay tutor. In today's studio tip, I'm going to show you how to master the blend. Now, if you're just getting into polymer clay and you're starting to advance, one of the skills that you may want to add to your skill set is a gradient blend. Now, I've got examples of what gradient blends are. In the claying world, we call this a Skinner blend because Judith Skinner was the first one to come up with this kind of technique. I now do a much simpler blend called the Teardrop Blend, which I'm going to show you today. But we use these kind of gradient blends to show shading and lots of interest in our clay work. I've got a few examples of some canes where the teardrop blends were used in them. Here's a peacock cane, a crocus bead cane, a tulip cane, and a hyacinth cane. And you can see that the colors are shifting from one to another, and it makes for some really cool techniques. Now, a lot of people say, well, what do you do with a Skinner blend? Well, you make canes or you make different kinds of projects. And all of these, I went to my drawer and just found some ones that I had Skinner blends or teardrop blends in them. So there's lots of really cool things that you can do with a gradient blend like this. But there are some tricks that you can do. People mess them up on a regular basis, and I'm going to show you how to fix that or how to work with it. The blend that we're going to do today is one similar to this one here. This is done using souffle clay, and I'm just going to use a tiny amount of 3 different colored clays. I'm going to use souffle turnip, this is canary, and this one is cherry pie. I recommend it when you're just learning how to make a teardrop blend or whatever blend you want to call it, that you start with small amounts. Doing large ones and then messing them up just means that you end up with a lot of muddy colors. So I always just do small ones. Why not? And then once you get good at it, then you can start using larger amounts of clay. So I'm just going to take my canary clay here and roll it into a ball and turn it into a teardrop shape just by rubbing my 2 palms together. Then I'm going to take the cherry pie, do the same thing, and we're going to put these together in a unique way. Now, you'll need some sort of rolling apparatus to make a Skinner blend. You can use an acrylic roller. I have a video on how to make a teardrop blend with an acrylic roller. So if you want to use a roller, then you'll want to check that out. Or you can use a pasta machine. I've got lots of videos on those as well. But today I'm going to use the Mammoth machine because it's bigger and it's got a you'll be able to see better if I use this machine. Besides, it's my favorite. But a lot of you won't have this machine, but it makes no difference how or what you put together or what rolling machine you use. Okay, so I'm going to take these and I'm going to put the turnip one this way, the cherry pie this way, and the canary this way. So I'm just going to flatten them out a little bit. And basically they are 3 little pointy triangles next to each other. And then I'm going to run these through the pasta machine. So I'm going to do it at a relatively thick setting so that there's enough room for this to go through. And I'm going to run it through the machine see how I've got my colors side by side? I'm not going to run it this way. I'm going to run it this way. Okay? So that I've got flat parts of the triangles at the top, and you can see what you've got it alternating this way. Make sure that you're rolling it that way. If you do it the other way, the colors will mess up. So I'm just going to run it through the pasta machine here. And what I end up is this long snake of the 3 colors. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up. What I want you to do is to remember to stay in your lane. So keep the colors so that they stay in their lane when you fold it in half. You're going to need to fold it in half. If you were to fold it this way, those colors wouldn't be in their lane, would they? They would be in each other's lane. But if you go this way, they're in their lane, they're lined up, and they're going properly in. So I'm going to make sure to put a little fold at the bottom and always put the fold into the machine first so that you're not trapping a lot of air. Now, what's happened here is these guys kind of went off to the side. There's no problem. Just fold it. Just keep it in its lane. Keep the color in its lane, fold it there. It really doesn't matter. People get too concerned and too fussed about it. Just fold it in half. It might be easier to see this way. So you're going to fold it in half, keeping your colors in their lane, and you can control them. You can shove them in. It really doesn't matter that much. You can even fold it one more time if you're careful not to trap in any air. Then you can just run it through the pass machine over and over, keeping those colors in their lane. Now, what happens as you get going is if your colors are staying too stripey, so I'm going to do it several times here more. I'll try to go fast so you can start seeing what's happening. The colors that are crossing over each other, they will start squishing together and blending. If your color way is here, it's probably easier for you to see from this side. If it's too stripey, then what you're going to do is you can adjust it a little. When you fold it in half, instead of going perfectly in the lane, you can veer off just a little bit. And it doesn't matter whether you go this way or this way, but just veer off just a little bit so that you're wandering in your lane a little. And then the colors will blend better in those areas. Then you can straighten it back out. So I'm going to just keep going here. Now, what will happen is if I don't control the width here, it's just going to get wider and wider because there's no restrictions on the side. Let's see. And it's just going to get wider and wider. And eventually what's going to happen is that you have this long, wide piece that's starting to get tricky to fold. So to avoid that from happening, what you're going to want to do is you fold it in half and take it to a surface and just kind of start pressing the edges in and control that. Push it in so it's a lot skinnier. And clay, you know, that's a really cool thing about clay is that you can force it to do what you want it to do. Also, see this little bump that's sticking out? That's because there's more clay in that area. It's a little thicker. So if I press down here and make it a little bit thinner, right where that bump is, and I just fold it in a bit, what will happen is that'll start straightening itself out. So I've made it a little bit shorter. Now, instead of letting it just spread out, I'm going to put my fingers on either side. Now, people make guides and all kinds of stuff to control the width, but your fingers are just as easy. So now, see what's happening is it's starting to square off a bit here. And you just keep going and see how these colors are starting to blend nicely from one to the next. And it's starting to get flatter across the top. You can also manipulate that a little bit by pulling up on the edges. It makes for a nicer blend if these are matching relatively well at the top. But it's still not that critical until you get to the end. See how pretty that's getting? And so you just keep going. Now, if I had folded it the wrong way, I just would have one messy color, probably a muddy color, because I would have had the purple and the yellow in there. So I would have had all the primaries and it would have been a messy color like that. So see how easy that is? It's not hard. You can force it to do what you want it to do. Another thing you should watch out for is bubbles. Now, I've been pretty good with not trapping air in there, but if you see any bubbles, what you want to do is just sort of tug the clay lengthwise, like down the strips, and it will release the air out. I always like to pull this way rather than sideways so that I'm not making my blend too wide. Now, we're getting pretty close here. I think this hasn't blended nicely enough yet, and I think it's kind of too sharp. So what I would do is just do another one of those slight tilts to the side so that it would blend a little more yellow into the red and a little bit more red into the yellow. So that line is a little less blurry. I mean, a little more blurred and a little less straight across. So as you can see, we did this in real time. We've got a really lovely blend, and you can use these blends for lots and lots of cool projects and canes and all kinds of neat things. So I hope that answered a lot of your questions. If you are messing up your cane, your blends, you're probably folding them the wrong way and you're not keeping those colors in their lane. All right. So if this was helpful for you, do let us know if you like this video. And if you've got techniques that you don't quite understand, if you've got products you would like me to test, books you'd like me to review, anything to do with polymer clay that you need answers for, make sure to leave suggestions in the comment section below. And subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. And when you click that subscribe button, a little bell will come up. Click that as well so that you'll get the notifications and you won't miss all the new stuff. All right, so we'll see you next time, and bye for now.